Hi, don't worry, this isn't going to be one of my longer devotionals from John's Gospel, just a quickie. I had a sermon prepared from Ezra chapter 3 that I was going to use last weekend, but for various reasons didn't use it. In Ezra 3 it says, despite their fear of the peoples around them, the people built an altar to the Lord. And that phrase, despite their fear, has really resonated with me. We see a lot of people afraid at the moment. And that fear is evidenced in lots of different ways. Panic buying, hoarding things, selfishly grabbing as much as they can for themselves. Being rude or isolating people who appear to cough in public. There are all kinds of ways in which fear can have a negative impact. This verse says, despite their fears. In other words, it acknowledges that there is fear. Acknowledges that there is something to be afraid of. We don't deal with our fear by pretending it isn't there. Courage isn't that there is nothing to be afraid of. Courage is going forward despite our fears. What might we do despite our fears? And what might worshipping God despite our fears look like? Maybe it's simply not to buy as much food as we possibly can, but to allow others to shop as well. Maybe it's to share our toilet rolls. Maybe it's to treat kindly and gently those who we see who look unwell or fearful or anxious. We've already talked in these devotionals about contacting our neighbours and doing other things to help people. But I wonder what things we might do that involve us overcoming a fear. Doing something that we might be a little bit apprehensive about, but we recognise God is asking us to do it. Now, I don't mean putting other people at risk, and I don't mean putting our own health at risk. I really, really don't mean going out when we shouldn't be, because that puts the National Health Service under pressure, needless pressure. So I'm not talking about those kind of things. I'm just talking about little ways in which in our life we might carry on doing what God has asked us to do for the people around us, despite our fears. And to acknowledge our fears and yet to trust that God is with us. And despite our fears, we will continue to worship our God and our King and give thanks for what we see He is doing among us.